Alright, Shalom Akim. I like to say Kal Halayim, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakal Kudash. Double down the apostles and others of great mills do not rule well. Peace and salutation to the Akim around the world that push this truth to the four corners of the earth, right? There is Yahweh from the GMS Trinidad East Camp. Alright, I said I'll go through a few precepts and entitled it Adding or Taking Away from the Word equals Death. Right? I'll go to one particular example. Mr. Jesus. I have a few examples, but there's just one of them, right? The book of Jesus is a Bible for the modern day, right? And I see a lot of Bibles following this same pattern. Not just this blasphemous one, but it have a lot of others that actually make versions and make changes to them. And they try to put it as more modernized, right? And there's a passage in Kanye's so-called Bible, the Jesus Bible, in Genesis 8. It say, and Kanye remembered Noah and every living thing and all the cattle that was with him in the ark. And Kanye made a wind to pass over. Oh, this is high blasphemy. high blasphemy. You understand? And he have to bite a missile for this. You understand? With those lower grill diamond teeth that he have to bite a missile for this. And this is something that a lot of people do. They just do it through Bibles, and they just also do it through teachings. But I'll go to the Bible parts first. Right? So this is what is the difference between NIV and KJV, right? I was reading this little piece here that this guy Paul Manning said. It say the KJV was translated in 1611 and was more or less a word-for-word translation, right? That's why we at Great Millstone say that the KJV is the most accurate version that you should use, right? Don't use these other versions, these more modernized versions that it does actually make. You should use the KJV, right? Because it's a more accurate version compared to a lot of others, right? Word-for-word translation, whereas the NIV is a modern dynamic equivalence. All right, it's a equivalence version where the translators carefully study the context to ascertain the author's intention and therefore may add in extra words or change sentences or change sentence structures to get the sense of the passage. So they adding in words and they taking out words and changing words to give you a more modern feel of what that's how they're trying to put it. A more modern feel of what they was trying to say back then. When really and truly, these people are changing these words. They're not changing it to actually help you learn. They're changing it to actually help deceive you by reading the Bible. Because I was reading another article and they was saying that some of the changes that they make is to suit the more modern day preference. You understand? And that is what they're making these new version Bibles for. It's to suit modern day preference. People who might prefer to hear this more than hear that. That is where it is they're actually making changes too. Right? Let me go down. Here's an example speaking of the dishonesty of Judas, right? Dishonesty of Judas. It says KJV, the definition of bear, has changed, obscuring the meaning of the last phrase, right? And we see any differences how to change this passage. Is what John 12:6 is say. This he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief, and had the bag, and bare what was put therein. And the other passage saying, now he said this, not because he was concerned about the poor, but because he was a thief. And as he had the money box, he used to pilfer what was put into it. You understand? So you see how it changing All the different verses changing to suit the more modern term. But why, when they change these things, what they're doing is actually making you understand something different to what is actually being said. Right? Right. And that way you say here under the NIV version, it say, the funny part is that the future readers may lose understanding of what help himself means as that idiom moves out of use, whereas pilfer is likely to remain. You understand? So they're actually changing your concept of it. And to talk about that in the book of Sirach, right? That's in the Apocrypha Ecclesiasticus, right? I'll read from I'll put it up to the top so that you'll know exactly where I'm starting from. Right? I know it's a long passage. Right? It say, wherefore let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us wherein we may seem to come short of some words. It say, which we have labored to interpret. And this is like the people who was interpreting it to different languages, right? Okay, you know about the 1611 and the scholars who actually had to do the translations from Hebrew and some Greek and Latin, you know. It say, for the same thing uttered in Hebrew and translated into another language. It's Slakia. Uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the book have no small difference. It say, when they are spoken in another language. So even in English, it will be as watered down from how it originally was. That is why when we're using these scriptures, we just had to go into like the Blue Letter and all these other, Strongs and Concord and so forth to be able to get the understanding of what was actually being said. Because when it change into English, it just have differences. And these people are actually bringing out these new version Bibles. They're making it even worse. Why? Because they don't want people to understand. They just actually see the men of the Lord preaching on the streets and bringing out certain things, and they just record these things and go and make the changes to them in their Bibles. That way you'll see, I believe it's the NIV. I think the NLT and the NLV is supposed to be the same thing. The NIV and the NLT is supposed to be the same thing, or very similar. And they make changes to that Bible like 3 times already. Why? Because every time they realize that they leave something out that could be used against the wickedness they just be teaching, they just go and make changes to suit their doctrine. You understand? And that is really adding and taking away from the scriptures. And they will have to answer for that. That is what Revelation 22:18. It says, for I testify unto every man that heareth the word of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book, right? So like in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, power shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book. So they have a punishment to receive for these things. You understand? They have a punishment to receive. And they will receive that punishment. Now you'll see Jesus have his version. You'll see the Catholics have their versions. I think even Beyonce has her own church and she have her own Bible. The Jehovah's Witnesses, they have a different version, which is a manipulated version compared to how it's supposed to be. You understand? And that is just the written version. It also have those that is add and take away from the word to the extent where they just actually teach contrary to what the scriptures say. Now you will have men at the Lord who might be teaching something that was different, and when they learn the correct thing, you understand, they corrected themselves. They tell the people, well, it's not this way, it's that way. You understand? But these people out here who actually know that the scriptures not supposed to be that way, and they're teaching it and actually making changes to deceive the masses just to receive money, you understand, they will be destroyed. You understand? And that's why the Lord has actually always reveal the secrets unto his servants, the prophets, so that the men who actually might have had any kind of errors, he will give them time to fix it and work on it. But these other people, he wouldn't give them that time or that chance to fix it. Why? Because they are ordained to be destroyed. You say Proverbs 30, I'll read from verse 5, right? It says, every word of power is pure, right? Every word of the Most High is pure. It says, he is a shield unto them that put their trust in him, right? So every word, the word itself is pure. You understand? If you put it as pure as a lamp, as a cleansing agent to wash, to cleanse your way, you understand? This word is something pure. It's not supposed to be changed to suit anybody's personal views. You see, even homos was, the LGBT and people who deal in these kind of stuff, they was even talking about making changes to suit modern day people's preferences. The Lord don't care about your preferences. The Lord said how it's supposed to be. And all the people are doing these things, they are going to be destroyed. Right? Verse 6, it say, add thou not unto his words, lest he reprove thee, and thou be found a liar. And he reproving them now by actually bringing out the men of the Lord to correct them. You understand? By going out on the streets and actually showing the errors within these different doctrines. I will see the apostles talk about all these Christians who coming up against them, and trying to debate and so forth, and they keep getting cut. They're getting reproof. Why? Because what they believe the scriptures to be, or what they were taught it to be, is actually wrong. He reproving them first now by his mouth, which is the prophets, and then afterwards they'll receive destruction for the ones that don't take heed. You understand? And I'm gonna go through some example. I'll go through one example. So this is just like the same example the man talk about in terms how the modern day reader wouldn't be able to understand the differences. And the same thing with the Ecclesiasticus that we read, right? It said this is the NLT. I'll go in the NLT. Jeremiah 14 verse 2, right? This is the NLT. Jeremiah 14 verse 2. It said Judah wilts. It said commerce at the city gates grinds to a halt. Right? It said all the people sit on the ground in mourning, and a great cry rises from Jerusalem. Now that way it's saying the NLT. Let me see what the KJV says. Right? Let's see what the KJV says. Right. It says the KJV. It said Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. It said they are black unto the ground. And that is certain things that they just like to change. That being black unto the ground, because Judahites were what? Dark skin. You understand? There are certain scriptures that they like to take out. There are certain changes that they just make because they don't want people to know these things. That one major reason why they just make these changes and these rehearsals. You understand? And actually change certain things because they don't want people to know what they're supposed to know. You understand? So they make these changes so people could be deceived a lot easier. They say, well, I don't read that Bible, I just read this Bible, and the word of the Lord is pure. So I know this Bible is correct because, and that is the kind of mindset people will have. They'll be reading a Bible that more suiting their doctrine. and deceiving themselves to think that it's okay. Because why? Because it actually written the Holy Bible. These people who doing these things, they are going to be destroyed for that. You understand? They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is going up. And that is just one change compared to all the others that it does make to help deceive the masses. You understand? Kanye had his changes in his Bible. Jehovah's Witnesses have their changes in their Bible. It have the Catholics that have their changes in their Bible. Think of a Catholic Bible here also. Let's see what the Holy Catholic Bible. Let me see what this says about Jeremiah 14 verse 2. It said Judah has mourned, and its gates have fallen and become hard to discern on the ground. And the outcry of Jerusalem has ascended. You understand? So all Bibles are not the same. That's why the men of the Lord, under GMS, was recommend to use the KJV, because it's the most accurate translation that you will get compared to all these other translations that they made to try to help deceive the masses. Anyway, I hope it was edifying to anybody that listened. With that, I'd like to say Kal Halayim, Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, Ba'asham Rakakodash, right double honors the apostles and others of great millstone that rule well. Peace and salutation to the Akim around the world that push this truth to the four corners of the earth. Right? Akim, Shalom, stay strong.